Welcome, everyone. Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, I want to talk about the 10th force, as I call it. Based in the real way the universe works, which is based in force energy physics, and the energies that are the two main forces in there, which are occultons and psions, which intermix together to create all matter. This is laid out in my Great Path course, and everyone who is interested in that, learning about the way the world works, instead of going to the failures, your Einstein, and all the new guys that are out there that feed you garbage and try and do it in a manner to be socially acceptable. This is a serious problem, particularly with some of these people that are out there that are pushing this garbage out there. And which is pretty much any noted physicist. And there's a Sean Carroll is one of the worst out there that tries to come off as thinking or believing or giving some sort of lip service to phenomenon that he doesn't understand and then saying it doesn't exist. So these are dangerous incompetents who are basically committing crimes against humanity by suppressing important technologies that we need to save this planet and our loved ones. So the 10th force is very interesting. That has to understand of how does all of this work. Now, these scientists, these smucks, want to go out there and tell us that there's a reason behind all these things that is based in some fantasy mathematics that they have created. When Newton wanted to describe everything that he did, he made up math so that what he stated would come out to be right. Huh? Yes. Read history, my boys, and you will find the secret. So science always rationalizes what they're saying to say, yeah, but the numbers come out. What numbers? That's your numbers. I don't care if they come out. What does that produce? So this is the problem with all of the, quote, sciences that don't have, quote, engineering to back them up. Now, you must remember that, well, I don't have any use for engineers either. The bottom line is engineers have to make something happen with the science. So engineering is about this force and that force that keeps the bridge standing, that will keep that building, that 100-story building standing up day after day, year after year. So, they really can't come out and give you some fancy dance. Well, the mathematics was right. Yeah, but the building fell down. Well, it's not my fault. The mathematics said it should stand up. This is, of course, what your scientists are telling you. And, of course, they've come up with nothing. They can't figure out how to make batteries that last long. They can't have any form of free energy. We got to go to nuclear energy, which is burning water. Oh, you're such geniuses, scientists. Well, you get this radioactive material, you stick it in water, and it creates steam. Yeah, because it's hot. And when water gets hot, it turns to steam. I learned this at MIT. Morons Institute of Technology. Look, I got a paper with my name on it. It says I'm a moron. Yes, you are. Give that man a cup of poo. So the whole idea is that that's exactly what's going on with all that stuff. So we have to keep that in quite a full understanding of it all. So there's nothing backing up what they're talking about. Now, when stuff starts to be used, or even when people claim that the whole world now is working on some sort of quantum physics mode, I'm not really sure what that means. But because I don't, scientists don't even know what quantum physics are, or consciousness, or which way they sit in a chair, or what is left and what is right. I'm a scientist. I don't need to know the facts. So the whole idea is that, so I'm not sure how the world is working on quantum physics, but well, they don't even know what it is. And, Einstein went to his death arguing that none of this made no sense. But I like the girls. So the whole idea is that this is exactly what was going on with all of these people. But it's very important to understand, based in force energy physics, the only physics that mean anything, the only physics that make sense and give you answers to everything you need. As I said, that's in my Great Path course. and that this is being updated all the time, and there's huge amounts of information there covering every facet of life, which I keep adding to as we deal with problems. Because there's more in life than how the universe was made, and it goes into the technology of force energy physics, which is the physical, you could call it the engineering of force energy physics, which has a larger even title of being known as manifesting science. Because again, unless science manifests, who cares? Theories, yeah, it worked out on paper again. Yeah, well, that paper don't feed me, don't put a roof on my head, I could care less about your mathematics. So when we get into all these things, you have to understand. So what is this 10th force? Well, this is what the occultons and the psions ultimately are made of. And there's no other way of looking at it. These are a type of, quote, spiritual energies. They're intelligent energies that really decide what's going to happen. Now, again, this brings up the chicken and the egg story. And of course, the bottom line is that that's never going to be solved because there's no way of knowing it. Scientists like to talk about the big boom or the pop. The big pop, I call it now. Pop. And it probably wasn't a boom to begin with. That was even said in joking, by the way. And I guess scientists, of course, picked that up. What did he say? Well, I have no sense of humor. So it was an actual Big Bang? Well, it was probably a pop, and it was basically more of a stretching. So as the universe is expanding rapidly, that's probably what happened at that particular time. Maybe faster than now, if you can believe any of this stuff. After all, we'll have to get Neil deGrasse Tyson to look through a little pipe in the sky and tell us, what's that rock up there, Neil? Well, the sun is 10 miles away, and that distilled water, is it? I never heard of a babbling boob as him. So the whole idea is that as we move into all of these things, we have to understand the physics of what's going on in terms of the components that we just don't understand what these intelligent energies are. And as I said, this is a mixture of the creative force of the actual occultons, the informational energetic fields, and the psions, of course, which are specific commands that interact with the occultons to then create matter. And this, of course, makes 100% sense. And this, of course, can be proven all the time, as all scalar type waves prove all the time. These non-electromagnetic waves, which seem to have an intelligence of their own to create energies that are then modified. Now, by the interaction of the psions. As I said, it's a complicated discussion I'm not going to get into now. But let's talk about the 10th force. That's all in the course. The 10th force is this spiritual energy. Often it's an intelligent energy that is drawn to for whatever is. And I believe there are multitudes of these. It could be unlimited. So the 10th force is the force that comes in when you're using any kind of scalar type energies that decides what happens to it. And usually the psions that you're producing are sending that kind of field in there to attract that particular type of energy. So this is further explained in the fact of what really was the basis of all science and what really was proven to work, which when we get into ancient spiritual, religious, and magical practices, which people are calling upon a particular type of occulton energy field that they're mixing with their psions. I hope everybody gets that. So if you're trying to heal someone, you call on the 10th force to interact with your already created occultons and psions. That would be an energy that heals. You have nothing to do with the process, and the energy is just there. It's a manifesting energy. But what is it manifesting? Well, that's where the intent comes in, if you want to use. I don't like that term because it's overused, but this is where the 10th force comes in, where you are calling upon that intelligent energy of a particular type. Now, this is how all the equipment that I manufacture work, and how all of this equipment in general works, is that you're using that 10th force, that intelligent energy. And too many people want to say, well, it's coming from you. Well, the bottom line is you are projecting for something, and you're filling it with maybe prosperity energy, maybe it is healing energy, maybe it is justice energy, but it is not coming from you directly. You have nothing to do with it, of the ultimate manifestation of it, because there are other factors involved. And that's where the 10th force comes from. So when you call on something, either whether it's a justice energy or a healing energy, you're calling on that 10th force energy of that particular type. So it's not you doing it. It's a, quote, spiritual energy. This can be put down in very common terms for people to understand them better, because I'm assuming this is fairly technical to most people. And if you haven't gotten my course, I'm sure that you're don't get any of this stuff. You're probably lost already. So let's put it in certain terms where everybody can understand it. So to a large extent, people would call this force a god. Now, it isn't God, because the comic book reality of gods and heaven and all that stuff that people talk about is nonsense. It's just a humanization and a misunderstanding of the forces of the universe. So what man has done, yeah, God looks like me, he looks like this guy over here, looks like Joe here. Joe, that's what God looks like. And of course, you don't go to an energy heaven. No, there's clouds. One Christian says they have actually a place where everything is made out of candy. I mean, this is the kind of things that you run into, and this is kind of the imbecilic human minds you get into, which you're never going to get away from. And this caters to all those fantasy people that are too lazy, too stupid, or too controlled to make their own lives. So, don't worry, when I'm done, I'll get everything when I'm done. That's a little late. That's like saying I'm going to go to that baseball, football game, that concert, when they leave the town. What? Well, they're gone. You can't. Where's I can go? I'm going to go to the mystical place where they have it. So this is the kind of nonsense that goes out there. And of course, anybody who's talked to any religious scholar, some of them with their who think they're so intellectual, they're just dumb idiots. None of it makes any sense, no matter how much they want to, in some way, make it sound a little more logical. So but the bottom line is that you're using a particular force, it would be called a spirit. Now, there's spirits that are involved in everything. No matter what you do in life, there's a certain spiritual element to it. Now, all those people out there who love all those mystical type things, and of course, that's everybody. Isn't everybody on this planet some sort of religious goofball? People who love the Tibetans are so holy. They're so holy. Oh, the mystical people. The Tibetans. Ooh. Well, what about them American Indians? Oh, yeah. Those are yeah. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Those are the spiritual people. They only did good. So let's go through and make sure we do. So it's the Tibetans, the American Indians. Who else can we throw in there? All the saints and sinners. Lots of saints. They all did everything. We got records of it. Guy floats up in the star. Or anybody else that's made some sort of impact that you get from all of it. So this is what people have called upon. And they've called upon the, but people misunderstand that it was just about calling upon a particular God form, but all a God form is a type of spirit. Maybe he's the president of the spirit company. He's the head of the healing. So you call upon the healing God. Well, and that's why there were so many multi-gods in all of the ancient religions, because you were basing on a particular occulton form of energy. And that form of energy, well, you're going to give a name to it. Oh, it's a 1, 2, 3 KXP. That's what Sean Carroll would say. So the whole idea is, no, you're going to give them a name that is equivalent to your society that understands. And of course, all the names that you know of the Egyptian gods, all those things like Thoth and Isis, those are Greek names. Ooh, yeah, because the Greeks occupied Egypt for, I think, 800 years, something like that. So the whole idea is that all the things that go with that stuff is misunderstood by everyone. So those are not even the real ancient Egyptian names, but you're going to name that energy, and then of course the religious people are going to say, well, these are just gods and other things. You have all these gods. Well, no, you're naming an energy field, and different energy fields are good for different things, and that's what kind of modifies the two major fields. The occultons and the psions are modified by what you bring into it. Now, these are the things that tend to control all this. So I am moving more and more into drawing these kinds of spirits into things. So anytime that you create an energy or something else, and again, the Tibetans, of course, have an entire healing system, which a lot of people like to praise, but the entire Tibetan system is based on 50% healing energies and 50% of getting rid of the demons that are causing the illnesses. So, it's amazing how people want to pick and choose what they think is best. That when it comes to all these things, that you leave out little bits and pieces that fit your belief system a little better. But we do have to understand all these things that come with it. So these are the influencing factors here. And the key of everything is finding the cosmic code to these entities or these spirits that could create these energies in this particular dimension. So if you want to heal someone, you would actually put that as part of your cosmic code. So you have to have a cosmic code that may be a particular energy to counter that energy, putting in opposite energy fields of a particular illness energy or vibration, and you want to put in the positive spirit or spirit energies that are positive to assist that. And you probably want to put in something to chase out the negative energies that are controlling this. So if you were to be able to talk about any particular type of disease, well, you would want to find out what that demon that is making that disease, empowering it in you, and then pushing it out as well. So there's a multi-level of these things. I'm sure this is very difficult for most people to understand, but this is, of course, what I've been doing for quite some time now, and we're integrating this into our new systems. So it has to do with the ultimate control. The energies that are being used in here are not directly under your command. And that's why so many things in this world fail. It may work 50 or 100 times, but the bottom line is almost everything fails because the bottom line is you haven't dealt with that particular entity that will come back at you and cause problems. So I think it's a great fallacy to miss the spiritual content of all these things. That there is this vibrational energies out there, which is what our special spiritual homeopathic area that we're getting into. Well, yes, you're using these vibrational energies, which appear to be of an energetic value. But what is in that energy and what requires the other thing? Well, you have to use an energetic spiritual value. So the bottom line is that people have been calling on angels and saints and healing gods and goddesses for years, and that's just a component of the occultant manifesting field that has been modified for that particular problem. And that particular problem is different within everybody to a degree. So, but if you're just calling on general energies, things don't work as well. Well, hopefully everybody's got that. I don't want to go on too long here because I think we're just going to lose people that don't understand this. It's probably something you need to listen to a few times. So we're going to talk about this, and because basically when we look at things where miraculous things have happened, they're generally connected to, whether negative or positive, and I'm not sure what is the difference there to some degree. But if you're looking on people looking for negative results, they're calling upon negative entities that then go into the occulton. I like to look at, and of course, and cause the problem. So you have to kick those out. You can also use those negative entities or positive entities to also have effects on people, whether this is in a justice area or in a medical area. So again, it is not the operator that decides something. And there's a reason for this, particularly when it comes into what are called justice cases. Now, justice cases is sending out the proper justice, the retribution that bad and evil people deserve. But you're not in control of that. You can't pick what's going to happen to people generally. There has to be a particular entity, a spirit, an angel, whatever you want to call it, that empowers that particular energy. So you may want something lesser or greater to bring justice to a person, and you will not get that. Sometimes I've seen cases where worse things happen to people that you personally were just looking for a little bit of justice, but the gods or spirits of justice have decided that this person deserves a lot more. Now, this has nothing to do with you. This has to do with the spirits. You are not directly activating. You are just turning the button on to bring in, and then the higher sources of empowerment decide what happened to that particular person. So we do have to keep that in mind with the entire process of using this very amazing technology, which really has never been used properly until I have finally gotten to this level of using this scalar spiritual type energy to the higher level. All of it's been done in a pseudoscientific and a pretty bad way, mixing in a whole bunch of other things. Very confused of what most people have done in these areas. And all of this is coming out in my courses and everything else. And of course, in the technology that continues to evolve and produce amazing effects out there. But all part of this has to do with the elements of this. And you have to take that into consideration when you're working with these tools. So what most people do is just put a symbolic image in there, normally called a rate. And this is supposed to counter or rates in general. To counter the negativities. Well, this is not enough. Now, this does work on some occasions because just by doing the process, you're pulling in the positive spirits to help you. So this is all part of the process of doing it. But people have to understand that these are not things that are directly controlled by you. Like so many things, you see this with particularly, and I guess these are bad examples to a degree, but we see this with all these healing ministers that are out there on TV all the time, is all they're doing is drawing in the power from their particular God form. And it is not them who are healing anybody. It is the God form. That's the same thing with healing and with justice cases. It's not you, it's the God forms that are doing that work. You are just bringing the attention that this is something that should be looked at for either justice or for healing, and that's your part in it. Because humans are in no way whatsoever have any abilities, even coming close to what we could consider gods, angels, etc. These are unfathomable energies, unfathomable powers, and humans, while they may want to think they are and think they have a lot of power, couldn't be in many ways, even though humans are extremely genius, but unfortunately extremely perverse. But a lot of people want to think that they're somehow gods. Well, become a god. Don't die. Nobody's done that yet, and they never will. Because no humans are gods. Plain and simple. This is an energy we don't understand that control all aspects of the universe, who have manufactured or created, we can call, their forces of creation, the occultons, the psions, and all the other energies that are out there, which I now am going to calling the 10th force, that control everything. So the whole idea is that has to be part of everybody's development and understanding. Of course, we're building this aspect into everything. Now, normally when you do something, when you use a rate or use a particular alchemical formula, whether that's candles or oils, you're drawing in the 10th force with the process. So this has always been going on. But the problem is, let's use it more directly so we can use it more efficiently. So as usual, as most things in life come down to, it's understanding from a high Gnostic viewpoint of what's really going on, and then how you incorporate that into your technology and how this technology then produces amazing results. And that's through this energetic 10th force and the energetic in general, which is broken down into many different forces. But the ultimate, the highest, the 10th force is this God-like, is the only way to describe it. Even though that's a simplistic and almost imbecilic way of looking at things that, oh yeah, it looks like me, it talks like me, and when I die, I'm going to go into a mansion and have lots of liquor and women. That was the Muslims say. So the whole idea is this is just nonsense. So that's not the way to look at things. That's a very primitive way of looking at things that we have to be work away from. So it's this higher, very spiritual way of looking at things. And that's how all this technology works. So it's not your intent. If your intent alone is put in there, if it is in general good of the universe, it will work out anyway. If it's something that needs to have a higher judgment done, which is very typical in justice cases, you are just the person bringing the case, so to speak, to a higher spiritual, you could call a judge to decide what the proper penalty it is. You have nothing to do with that from the actual actions of what happened. You're just bringing that information to there, as simple as that. So that's very important for everybody to know. And of course, that's the way healing works. That's the way everything works. So there are these positive and negative forces at work in everything in our reality, and these are often tried to be pushed aside by the failure scientific community, who does nothing but commit scientific fraud to act like they know something because they really know nothing, and there's very little that they will ever discover with their mind thought. And most things have been discovered already. There really isn't that much more to discover. What we have to do is figure out how to apply our discoveries to the physical world. With that, I will leave you until next time.